Hi, as Scott said, this is On My Nightstand, and I am Laura Cathcart Robbins. And today I'm reading an essay that I wrote for alcoholchange.org, which is Catherine Gray's website, and she's amazing. If you don't know Catherine Gray, you must look her up, Gray. And she's in the UK, and she asked me to write something for Sober Spring. So this is in the Sober Spring piece of her website, and it's called How My Drinking Friends Help Me Stay Sober, which is true. And I will start right now. After I stopped drinking in August of 2008, I was advised to stick with the winners, aka other sober people, folks who understood the challenge of being the only one in the room not drinking. So I did. These new sober friends of mine had daily coffees together. We sat 10 to a booth in greasy diners for lunch. And later on, when we got braver, we met for early dinners in restaurants, self-consciously checking our watches while we ordered our club sodas and Diet Cokes. By 8 o'clock, we'd have all scampered back to our respective homes, handily avoiding the second seating crowd, the partiers, the ones who would be ordering bottles of red and shots of tequila. About a year after declining clubbing invites from my former drinking buddies, my best friend invited me to her birthday dinner. This would have been doable. After all, she was my best friend, except for that this dinner was to take place at Tao. Tao was a happening spot with a massive wine list and a bar that takes up a whole city block. And there's dancing. In other words, Tao is a nightclub. I didn't know if I should risk that kind of social pressure. I hadn't smelled a scotch on anyone's breath or caught a whiff of a freshly poured glass of wine in over a year. But as I said, this was an invite from my best friend, so I said yes. I could feel myself sweating in places that one shouldn't sweat as I took my seat next to her at the head of the table by the dance floor. I wondered if I stood out from the other 15 or so women there, even though we could have all passed for sisters. Do I look sober? Can they all tell? I occupied myself by practicing my breath work as the waiter arrived to take our drink order. While they all went around ordering glasses of Chardonnay and lychee martinis, I began to stall. I pretended to be super engrossed in the appetizer list, asking our waiter to describe each one. How is the popcorn shrimp prepared? When finally there was nothing else to do but place my drink order, I asked for my new standard, cranberry and soda with lime in a short glass, please. Unprepared for the wave of embarrassment that immediately engulfed me, I fantasized about the floor opening up and swallowing me whole. Next, the waiter stepped over to my best friend and asked if she'd decided. Yes, she said, winking at me. I'll have the same as her. I could have kissed her. In fact, I believe I did. A year later, this happened. I sit on the board for a school. I'd previously confided in our board chair, Robin, about my decision to stop drinking after she'd arranged a wine tasting during one of our 3-day retreats. At about 2 years sober, I walked into one of our meetings and found that someone had filled the conference room with black and gold balloons, and several liveried waiters were standing by with bottles of champagne. We've hit our fundraising goal, Robin shouted gleefully. Everyone please gather for a toast. My heart started beating faster as the waiters poured around the table, getting closer and closer to me. A toast means everyone raises a glass. A toast means that everyone drinks. Do I cover my glass with my hand? Do I fake sip and hope that no one notices? But just as the waiter got to my side of the table, I saw Robin covertly hand the waiter a bottle of sparkling apple juice and indicate my glass. The waiter didn't miss a beat, pouring the soft drink into my flute and then switching bottles again when he poured it for the woman next to me. This discreet, considerate act floored me. Robin had thought about this moment and planned ahead. I knew that I would never forget her or the gift she gave me that day. These experiences stand out, but there are so many others. Just a few months ago, my boyfriend, who's also sober, and I were invited to a celebration, and the hosts called us specifically to see if it was okay for them to serve alcohol at the party, saying that they'd rather have us than the booze, so if it were a problem, they wouldn't serve it. Wow. I don't regret my August 2008 decision to stop drinking, not at all. But I would be lying if I didn't say that there have been times where it's felt like it would have been easier to have a drink, or 14. Fortunately for me, all of these lovely sober allies care enough to want to help support my sobriety, making it possible to add more names to my list of winners with whom to stick.